Welcome back to the channel, tennis fans. Today, we are witnessing history unfold right before our very eyes, and it is happening at a blistering pace. If you've been following the WTA Tour recently, you already know the name that have been echoing through stadiums, dominating headlines, and sending shockwaves across the entire tennis world. Alexandra Eala. Just let that sink in for a moment. A 21-year-old tennis prodigy from Quezon City in the Philippines has not only broken through the incredibly dense barrier of professional tennis, but she has absolutely shattered the glass ceiling for Southeast Asian athletes on the global stage. As of August 2026, Alex Eala has achieved a career-high singles ranking of world number 20. Let me repeat that, world number 20. She is the highest-ranked Filipino player in the history of the WTA Tour. But rankings only tell a fraction of the story. The real story, the breaking news that has the entire tennis community buzzing right now, is how she got there and who she had to dismantle along the way. Just weeks ago, we saw her capture the WTA 500 title at the Washington Open, her biggest professional triumph to date. But it was not just the fact that she won the tournament. It was the sheer magnitude of the opponents she left in her wake. We are talking about a historic run that saw her dethroning giants, overcoming the sheer power and monumental presence of four-time Grand Slam champion Naomi Osaka, and proving she can go toe-to-toe with the absolute best in the world. Over the last couple of seasons, she has notched victories against legends of the modern game, taking down players like Iga Swiatek, Coco Gauff, Madison Keys, and Jasmine Paolini. This is not just a lucky streak. This is not a flash in the pan. This is a permanent arrival of a certified superstar who is completely rewriting the script of what we thought was possible. Think about the history of sports in the Philippines. For generations, the country has produced phenomenal, world-renowned athletes in boxing, weightlifting, and billiards. But professional tennis? Tennis was always viewed as a mountain too steep, a sport seemingly reserved for nations with massive federations, endless clay courts, and bottomless financial resources. That was the accepted reality, until Alexandra Eala decided that reality was no longer acceptable. So, when a young girl from the Philippines steps onto the court and starts dictating play against the most feared and heavily funded hitters on the planet, you have to stop and ask yourself a very important question. How exactly is this happening? What is her secret weapon? What is the undeniable X factor that allows Alex Eala to stand her ground, absorb the punishing pace of the world's elite, and fire it right back with interest? Today, we are going to do something we have never done before on this channel. We are going to put Alex Eala's game under the absolute most powerful microscope imaginable. We are going to strip away the media hype, look past the shiny trophies and the historic milestones, and break down the raw mechanical and psychological anatomy of her tennis. We will look at her upbringing, her foundational years spent grinding on the clay courts of Mallorca at the Rafa Nadal Academy, and how that specific, grueling environment forged her into the ultimate competitor. We will analyze her tactical evolution, the unique biomechanics of her left-handed strikes, and the statistical anomalies that make her such an absolute nightmare for her opponents. Many analysts will immediately point to her blistering forehand. Others will say her biggest asset is her left-handed advantage, effortlessly opening up geometric angles that right-handed players simply cannot access. Some will argue it is her return game, a deeply instinctual ability to read the toss and neutralize big servers before they even realize what hit them. But I am here to tell you that while all those elements are undeniably world-class, they are not the true core of her genius. They are not the ultimate answer. There is one specific, towering strength in Alex Eala's game that stands head and shoulders above all the rest. A strength so deeply ingrained in her DNA that it breaks the will of her opponents long before the match point is even played. So, sit back, get comfortable, and make sure you are paying very close attention. Because by the end of this video, you'll understand exactly why Alexandra Eala is not just the pride of the Philippines, but the undisputed future of women's professional tennis. Let us dive deep into the biggest strength of Alex Eala. To truly understand the weaponization of Alex Eala's game, we have to travel back in time and across the globe. We have to look at the crucible in which her elite talent was forged. At the tender age of 12, when most kids are just trying to figure out middle school, Alex made a massive decision that would forever alter the trajectory of her life and career. She packed her bags, left the comfort of her home in the Philippines, and moved to Manacor, Spain, to enroll in the prestigious Rafa Nadal Academy. Now, I want you to really think about what that means. You are a young teenager, thousands of miles away from your family, immersed in a grueling, high-performing environment where the standard of excellence is literally set by one of the greatest, most relentless athletes to ever walk the earth, Rafael Nadal. The academy is not just about hitting thousands of forehands and backhands until your hands blister. It is an institution dedicated to philosophy of suffering, resilience, and absolute, uncompromising discipline. During her formative years there, working under the watchful eyes of highly experienced coaches like Daniel Gomez, Joan Bosch, and eventually Tony Nadal himself, Alex was not just taught how to play tennis. She was taught how to think like a champion. She was surrounded by a culture that demanded 100% effort on every single ball, in every single practice session, regardless of how you felt that day. Tony Nadal's involvement during her transition to the senior tour was described by Alex herself as a massive blessing, imparting lessons on adaptability, tactical grit, and humility that you simply cannot buy. This environment instilled in her a tactical maturity that usually takes players a decade on a professional tour to develop. She learned very early on that tennis is not just a physical contest of who can hit the ball the hardest. It is a brutal, exhausting game of physical and mental chess. Let us transition directly into the physical mechanics of her game, because this is where things get incredibly fascinating. If you watch Alex Eala play, the very first thing that jumps off the screen is her baseline aggression. She is a natural, aggressive baseliner who operates with a level of calm and precision that is genuinely chilling to watch. Her primary weapon in open play is, without a doubt, her forehand. Being a left-handed player instantly gives her a geometric advantage on the court. Her left-handed topspin forehand naturally targets the weaker backhand side of most right-handed opponents. She uses this specific shot to dictate the tempo of the rally, pushing her adversaries deep behind the baseline, suffocating them, and systematically stripping away their offensive options. But unlike many players who rely solely on heavy, looping topspin to stay safe, Alex possesses a rare, highly coveted ability to flatten out her ground strokes. She hits the ball incredibly early, taking on the rise, which robs her opponents of the one thing they need most on a tennis court: time. This flat, piercing style of hitting is exactly why she's found such massive, unexpected success on faster surfaces like hard courts and, most notably, grass. When she won the WTA 125 title in Birmingham on grass, and when she made her deep runs at Eastbourne and Wimbledon, the tennis world was absolutely stunned. Traditionally, academy players raised on the crushed red brick of European clays struggle heavily on the slippery, lightning-fast lawns of England. But Alex's biomechanics are perfectly suited for it, because she hits flat and redirects pace so effortlessly. The low bounce of grass court or a fast hard court heavily amplifies her shots. She does not need to generate all her own power from a dead ball. Instead, she uses her opponent's pace against them, acting like a brick wall that absorbs a cannonball and fires it right back at twice the speed. And that brings us to her two-handed backhand. It is a stroke of absolute beauty and rock-solid consistency. While her forehand is a sword she uses to attack and deal damage, her backhand is a heavy shield she uses to control the exchanges and stay alive. It rarely breaks down under pressure. When players try to attack her backhand, desperately hoping to find a weakness to exploit, they are instead met with deep, penetrating shot that resets the point and puts Alex right back in the driver's seat of the rally. But we cannot do a comprehensive deep dive on Alex Eala without addressing the elephant in the room: her serve. For years, critics, analysts, and former pros have pointed to her serve as her glaring weakness. It lacks the explosive, terrifying pace of a Coco Gauff or the heavy, kicking spin of an IGA Swiatek. It is often described as slow, and mathematically speaking, it is. But here's the paradox, and here is where her tactical genius truly shines through. Tennis is fundamentally a game of rhythm. When you are facing elite players who are incredibly used to returning serves that come to them at 110 miles per hour, throwing in a slower, sliced, perfectly placed serve completely breaks their timing. We saw this exact phenomenon play out perfectly when she defeated IGA Swiatek on grass. The defending champion was constantly lunging, misjudging the ball, and overhitting because the ball simply was not arriving when her elite muscle memory expected it to. Eala expertly turns her perceived weakness into a massive tactical disruption. Furthermore, because she knows her serve isn't going to consistently bail her out with free points and easy aces, she has developed an elite, world-class defensive transition. The very split second the ball leaves her racket on a serve, she is instantly in a defensive, crouching posture, completely ready to grind out the point from the baseline, which naturally leads us to the other side of the equation. Her return game, according to advanced statistical metrics and match analytics. Alex Eala possesses one of the most lethal return games on the entire WTA Tour right now. When she played Naomi Osaka in Washington, she broke Osaka's thunderous, legendary serve 4 separate times. How do you do that against one of the biggest and best servers in the history of the sport? You do it through elite anticipation, lightning-fast reflexes, and a deeply ingrained mindset that treats the return not as a defensive bailout shot, but as the very first strike in an offensive combination. Eala has stated in interviews that she focuses entirely on what she can control. She reads the ball toss like a hawk. She tracks the shoulder rotation of her opponent, and she aggressively steps into the court to take the ball early. Her ability to completely neutralize first serves and absolutely punish second serves is a masterclass in relentless pressure application. So, we have talked about the elite Nadal Academy pedigree. We have talked about the lethal left-handed forehand, the rock-solid backhand, the tactical brilliance of her serving and returning, and her incredible, almost shocking adaptability on fast surfaces. All of these are monumental strengths, but they are still not the biggest strength. The absolute biggest strength in Alex Eala's game, the undisputed, undeniable superpower that separates her from the rest of the pack, is her rally tolerance combined with her unparalleled mental resilience. Let me explain exactly what that means. In modern tennis, power is highly abundant. Almost everyone inside the top 50 can hit a clean winner from anywhere on the court. But what happens when that winner comes back? What happens when you hit your absolute best shot right on the line, and the girl across the net simply chips it back deep? Most players panic. They get frustrated. They go for far too much on the very next shot, and they make a catastrophic unforced error. Alex Eala does not panic. She has an endless, almost terrifying capacity for suffering on the tennis court. Her rally tolerance, her sheer willingness to hit one more ball, to run down one more impossible drop shot, to endure a grueling 20-shot rally when her lungs are burning and her legs feel like pure lead, is absolutely unmatched for someone her age. When you play Alex Eala, you are not just playing a standard tennis match. You are taking a brutal physical and psychological exam. She builds a wall of inevitability around the court. She silently tells her opponents, "I will not miss. If you want this point, you're going to have to hit completely through me, and you are going to have to do it flawlessly." And eventually, the opponent cracks. They go for the low-percentage, high-risk shot because they simply cannot bear the thought of grinding through another endless, lung-busting rally. This mental fortitude, this unbreakable spirit, was not born overnight. It was forged in those early, dark mornings in Mallorca. It was built through tears, sweat, and a burning, undeniable desire to prove that a girl from Quezon City belongs at the absolute pinnacle of the sport. Her mind is an impenetrable fortress. Whether she is cruising up a double break or facing a terrifying triple match point against a Grand Slam champion, her facial expression rarely changes. She stays relentlessly present, managing the micro moments of a match with the icy veins of a seasoned, 10-year veteran. That mental resilience, that flat-out refusal to break under the crushing weight of expectation, is her greatest weapon. It is the engine that drives the forehand, the backhand, and the footwork. Without that unbreakable mind, the strokes are just mechanics. With it, she is an unstoppable force. Consider the immense weight she carries on her shoulders every single time she steps onto the court. She is not just playing for ranking points, sponsorships, or prize money. She is playing for a nation of over 100 million people who treat her every victory as a national holiday. The pressure to perform at that level must be utterly suffocating. Yet when asked about it, she speaks with a quiet maturity that heavily defies her 21 years on this earth. She leans on her family, her incredibly supportive parents, her brother Miko, her grandfather who first put a racket in her hand when she was just 4 years old. She leans on her team, specifically Coach Joan Bosch, who has become a deeply trusted mentor and a confidant both on and off the court. She knows she is not the queen of the world, as she so humbly puts it. She knows she is still evolving, but that intense self-awareness, that grounded humility, is exactly what fuels her continuous, rapid improvement. To Alex, every mistake is just data. Every heartbreaking loss is just a lesson to be absorbed. And every massive victory is just a stepping stone to something even greater. She has taken the DNA of a champion, nurtured carefully in Spain, and infused it with the undeniable, fiercely proud fighting spirit of the Filipino people. That lethal combination of tactical brilliance and emotional invulnerability makes her an absolute terror for anyone sitting across the net. As we look toward the horizon of the WTA Tour, the landscape of the sport is shifting dramatically, and Alex Eala is standing right at the epicenter of that massive earthquake. We have dissected the mechanics, we have unpacked the rich history, and we have revealed the ultimate truth about her game. Her biggest strength is not something you can easily measure with a radar gun. You cannot quantify her mental resilience on a standard stat sheet, and you cannot teach her brand of rally tolerance from a tennis textbook. It is a rare, intangible, deeply special quality that is born from immense personal sacrifice, relentless discipline, and absolute, unconditional love for the sport of tennis. Think about what the next 5 years hold for this remarkable young woman. At just 21 years old, she has already achieved a world number 20 ranking. She has already captured a massive WTA 500 title on the hard courts of Washington. She has already proven to the entire world that she can step onto the hallowed, slippery grass of Wimbledon or the blazing hot hard courts of North America and completely dismantle reigning Grand Slam champions. And the truly terrifying part for the rest of the tour, she is only getting better. She has openly admitted that she is still actively building her physical strength in the gym. She is still tweaking the mechanics of her serve. She is still learning the intricate nuances of the week-to-week professional game. If this is what Alex Eala looks like when she is still evolving and finding her footing, imagine the absolute juggernaut she will become when she finally hits her physical and tactical prime. But beyond the gleaming trophies and the historic rankings, Alex Eala represents something far more profound to the world of sports. She represents a massive paradigm shift in global tennis. For every young boy or girl watching her from the Philippines, from Southeast Asia, or from any country that isn't traditionally known as a tennis powerhouse, she is living, breathing proof that geography does not dictate your destiny. She has definitively shown that with the right mindset, an unbreakable work ethic, and immense courage to leave your comfort zone, you can stand shoulder to shoulder with the towering titans of the sport. She has taken the Rafa Nadal Academy's core philosophy of suffering and endurance and transformed it into a beautiful, fluid, attacking game that is captivating audiences worldwide. The tennis world always loves a prodigy, but it deeply respects a grinder. Alex Eala is both of those things wrapped into one. She has a prodigious, God-given talent to hit clean winners from outside the doubles alley, but she also possesses a blue-collar, working-class mentality to scrape her knees and bleed for every single point if that is exactly what it takes to win the match. As she continues her relentless march toward the top 10 and inevitably toward Grand Slam contention, the entire tennis community will be watching her every move. The target on her back will only grow larger. The expectations from the media and fans will only get heavier. Opponents will intensely study her match tape. They will try their hardest to expose her serve, and they will try to break down her baseline game. But as we have extensively learned today, attempting to break Alex Eala's physical game is an exercise in futility, because to break her game, you have to break her mind first. And that fortress is entirely impenetrable. Thank you so much for joining me on this extensive deep dive into the extraordinary game and mindset of Alexandra Eala. If you found this analysis insightful, if you learned something new today about the biomechanics, the strategy, or the inspiring history of this incredible athlete, please do me a massive favor and hit that like button. It genuinely helps the channel grow and allows us to keep bringing you this level of highly detailed, documentary-style tennis content week after week. Make sure you hit the subscribe button and ring the notification bell right now so you never miss an upload. We're going to be following Alex's career very, very closely, and you will absolutely want to be here as we document her historic journey to the very top of the sport. I want to hear from you down in the comments section right now. What do you personally think is the most impressive aspect of Alex Eala's game? Do you agree with me that her mental resilience and rally tolerance are her absolute greatest weapons? Or do you think her left-handed forehand is the true game changer? How many Grand Slams do you think she can realistically win in her career? Drop your thoughts, your bold predictions, and your hot takes in the comments below, and let's get a great discussion going. Tennis is a sport of constant evolution, a beautiful, brutal struggle between power, precision, and the unbreakable human spirit. And right now, there is absolutely no one embodying that struggle quite as beautifully and quite as fiercely as the pride of Philippines. Until next time, keep your eyes on the court, keep swinging for the lines, and I will see you in the next video.